Hello, everybody, and welcome to session number 12 of the Dragon Age Ascension tabletop campaign. A lot happened last week, or last time, as usual, so we are going to dive right in. This time, I'm going to change things up a little bit and save the warm-up question for a little bit later, at least not until after a small section. Because it may affect the responses for at least one person, maybe more, in their Roma question. So let us take it from where Rousseau and the group have discovered a number of things from the everybody at the in the video is calling it the House of Faust. The Faust House, the House of Faust. And I think the last thing that happened was Rousseau had a moment to begin to react to the things that he learned from his past. And right after that scene kind of tapered off, by this point, Valor has returned. It seems to have finished nibbling on something in the forest. Maybe it was the raccoon, maybe it was something else, but the creature seems satiated. And it looks like Valor seems to be moving its beak through some of the shrubs, the overgrown bushes around the house. Maybe it's looking for dessert. I don't know. Valor is off to the one corner of the house near the porch area when she begins to give a walk walk sound to the group in general.
Pasha was outside with Rousseau and she wandered off to give him some space. So I imagine she'd be heading towards Valor.
Sure. All right, Pasha. So, Pasha, you will go over to take a look at what Valor is calling about. And it dips its head behind the shrubs. The shrubs shake a little bit. And when she brings her head back up, in her beak is a small, it almost looks like a scroll case, but more accurately, it's a scroll or message case that is used to hold a letter when you are delivering it via carrier pigeon or messenger bird.
Pasha's gonna attempt to take.
Yeah, you can take it. You can take it.
She'll open it.
Sure, you will open it.
Ooh. She frowns.
Mm-hmm.
Because she knows who three of those people are, but then the last one, I don't know. She's gonna head inside and
Okay.
Leon. Valor found this outside. I believe it relates to you and your parents.
Oh, well, thank you.
I don't think you're going to like the contents of it, though.
Oh, well, we've learned one secret we shouldn't have. Maybe we should have to begin with.
So I just added it to your handout, Sam. At this point, now that it's been revealed to Leon, why don't you go ahead and read it out loud so everyone, including the viewers, can hear.
D and C, your lives are in danger. I've discovered that the Templar Order is en route to your cottage. I don't think they realize who L actually is. But just in case, my seals should hold. Take your family and flee. Come to me if you need a place to hide in the meantime. I pray to the Maker that that my message reaches you in time. Hey. Is it dated at all?
It's dated around the time that many years ago, around the time when your family was visited by the Templars, yes. You're not sure if the letter came late or if the carrier bird missed or something, but you probably can deduce that this letter did not reach them in time, one way or another. I see that Tyrion is, yes.
Funny, as last time I remember, Tyrion got shocked by electricity from the safe he unlocked.
Correct.
I imagine some time has passed where he's like,
yes,
he's coming downstairs, probably Derek,
sure.
and he's like, ooh. Okay, remember everyone that if we're gonna open the safe, check for traps again. Ow!
Are you alright?
Static shock. Electricity. Cleon's parents booby-trapped the safe by unlocked. Everything alright over there?
He's sort of clenching and unclenching the paper, trying not to rustle it too much. If this got here sooner,
Can I kind of look over his shoulder? Kind of walk behind and look over his shoulder, so I don't interrupt his moment?
Can he, Leon?
Yeah, he's not being very secretive at all.
Alright, so Tyrion, you can go over his shoulder and you can read the letter. Roll me a cunning.
19.
You definitely recognize this handwriting to be Amarin's handwriting. It is without a doubt in Amarin's handwriting.
Tyrion just stares her silently, if Pasha's looking, Tyrion was there, he was a little bit injured, but now his gaze is focused and frowning. He's right now frowning right now.
Tyrion, you look like you've seen a ghost. Are you...
I know that handwriting.
Whose is it?
Amarin's. My master.
I think we may have to move up the timetable on when we're meeting him. He knows something. He has to.
Of course he has to. Your parents met with him when we...
And in the woods, no less. It looked like an important meeting. What were they doing?
What were who doing? At this point, Rosie has come into the room, and is Rousseau still outside, or did he make his way back inside?
I'd say no, he's finally collected himself and just slowly shambling back to the door to grab the notes and the painting.
In the interest of possibly having Rousseau involved, Rousseau is coming back, and so is Rosie, is entering into the room, and Daratham is, I don't know, taking a leak somewhere outside. I don't know. maybe he's doing a number 2. He's doing a number 2. I'm not going to get into details about how Darkspawn do that, but anyway.
Definitely a dark storm going on.
Yeah.
Oh, this house has a few too many secrets. He puts the letter down on the table.
Rosie looks at it and she studies the letter carefully, and her eyes, her brow crinkles a bit when she gets to a specific sentence. I don't think they realize who L actually is. What is that supposed to mean?
Well, we found a number of secrets in this house. I was starting to think my parents weren't all upright in this endeavor. They were researchers, and, well, Rousseau knows about that. I think they knew one too many people, which got the Templars on them. Maybe someone working against them. It has to be.
But what I don't get is If L is supposed to be... I'm assuming L is supposed to be you, Leon, then... Who are you supposed to be? She asks.
Well, to be fair, going into this, we didn't know who, oh gosh. It's been a week. Can't remember names. Rousseau was before this.
I can't remember PC names. It's been...
How could you? I kept coming up with like Tommy. I was like, no.
Who Tommy is.
Didn't know who Rousseau is until this. I'm afraid that, well, one more secret to the pile, as
Still,
special as he is.
At this point, it's gonna be me getting into the doorway, just kind of slouched a little bit, knuckles still bloody leaning against the door. I'm not special, Leon.
Well, before things go on too much, let's staunch the bleeding.
It's fine.
I'll do it for him. I'll bandage his wounds. I don't think he wants him to be healed. He just wants him... Here, I'll offer him my bandage to the other Kuzo.
I'm gonna put my hand up over the bandages. I need to feel this one.
As a doctor, I must insist.
Tyrion, please
So,
back
I'm
off.
I'll just put the bandages back in the bag. Fine. And I'll step away from him. Shaking.
Anyway, what I miss?
Valor found a letter.
That pertained.
Someone named Amron. Tyrion knows him. He knew that the Templars were coming for Leon's parents, and there's a very odd line. I don't think they realize who Leon actually is.
They weren't... The Templars weren't there for his parents. I don't even assume that they were there's blood mages. They were looking for Leon, if that's what they were looking for.
No, I think it's that they weren't looking for Leon. They didn't realize who, what.
Implying that things could have been worse if they knew.
Yes.
Rosie looks worried, and she keeps eyeing Leon.
Well, let's focus on what we know. It's best to collect our thoughts.
I know who sent that letter.
And where is this person?
Most likely to Vinter.
Minratos. The capital.
Then if you want answers, Leon.
We're not planning on going there, are we? Rosie asks. I've heard that Tevinter's got some bad juju.
Well, I think some of that juju we've got to learn about, unfortunately.
At least, as far as I can, from what this letter is, at least it seems he was interested in Leon's parents and whatever, if it's either Leon or this L, whoever he's mentioned.
So, Leon, do you know anything about this Amarin guy?
All I know is that when I was little, I met Amrin with my parents in the woods on our way there.
How do your parents know somebody from Tevinter?
Well, the story they told me was they were in the war and they met a lot of interesting folk. I think Amrin was one of them. An old friend, they called him. It could also be another L. At least that's a hope.
I'm pretty sure it's probably you, Leon. And at this point, I've kind of just started to walk to the back of the room to take the painting off the wall. I mean, heck, if we go to some weird house in the woods and you find out you're someone's messed up experiment they felt bad for, I'm pretty sure you having some other secret's not a stretch of the mind, Leon.
Yeah. But in the end, you became someone better.
I know, just still a little confused.
That makes two of us then. I found some papers in my parents' house that I need to analyze and figure out then.
Leon, we found a safe in the bedroom of your parents also. It's opened.
Well, let me go take a look.
Leon, before you go, one quick magic question, if you will allow me.
Oh, yes.
Seals, those what the letter mentions. Could you sense those if you tried?
I can most certainly try. I know there's a lot of glyphs that could be counted as seals. Leon's gonna do a blood magic check though.
She's also
Go ahead.
Pasha's also gonna add, could you potentially sense something that was sealing yourself?
Oh, like with what's going on with Balin and his seal.
He wasn't sealed, he just never had contact.
Kind of, sort of like that, maybe. I don't understand magic.
Yeah.
Try, but
Leon's first gonna try to sense if there's anything in the house.
Well, first of all, roll a stealth, I guess.
Can I do a deception check?
Is that? Yeah, you roll a deception against Pasha's perception. Pasha, roll a perception. Leon, roll a deception.
Oh, for a
15.
minute then I was like, what? No, 15.
Okay. Okay, and now go ahead and roll a blood magic roll, please, Leon.
I did really well at that deception check. Holy cow! 19 for blood magic.
I'm gonna say that you may still feel remnants of some sort of general protection spell surrounding this house, but it's super weak. And this remnants is probably just lingering from, honestly, years ago. Not recently. Other than that, I don't think you sense anything magical about the house, with the exception of that big giant trap in their master bedroom that electrified Tyrion. Other than that, no.
what happened? What do you mean about that? Nothing happened in that room.
Nothing
Still
happened.
smoking from like the electric burns.
Occasional.
I don't feel anything in the house, and if there were a magical seal on me, I think that I should probably do it in a meditative state to sense, because I don't want to accidentally touch something I shouldn't.
Oh, maybe Aunt Violetta could check you out and see if something's seely wheely around you, cursey, timey-wimey.
Yeah, she'd be a good resource, but I don't think my parents would do anything to harm me. At least I hope not. So I'd like to first feel it out for myself, and if I can't feel anything, Violetta would be a great person to talk to.
She turns to Russo and she says, I'm sure Russo can convince her.
He sort of raises his eyebrow, but continues on.
I'm gonna give a look like,
the safe. It's gonna pop upstairs.
You guys go ahead. I'm gonna take those letters.
So yeah, so if anyone's downstairs, Tyrion is just staring at this letter intensely.
I'd say I'd be coming down with the painting under my arm and the bundle of letters, put in my bag. You are right, Tyrion.
He stares at the letter and he says, "No." And he's going to close the letter and walk outside. I need some fresh air.
I get that.
Tyrion's going to walk outside, and I'm going to say that as you're just standing there, you'll feel a soft nuzzle of a head against your arm, as Valor seems to have noticed that you don't seem like your typical self. So she's kind of just,
I kind of I just pet Valor a bit. I'm alright. For now.
Squawk! Squawk, she says as she looks up in the sky.
I look up also.
You look up and, you just see a few, birds overhead, which is, again, I think the first time that you've seen birds since you stepped foot into this forest.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think you see anything out of the ordinary other than birds.
All that Tyrion's gonna do is just look at the sky. The sky holds many futures for all of us. Potentially the pasts that we're gonna have to visit again. Oh, what this life has turned into.
Well, I think this house holds too many secrets. I think we should also find this as a point to move forward from. I know I don't want to look back anymore. Do you want to burn it?
Are you sure, Leon? This is where you grew up, Rosie says.
I don't want to be beholden to the past anymore. Yes, there's answers I want, but I think that this is my decision now. And as long as you all agree that, well, there's nothing left to harvest in here, I think we should burn it.
If that's what you think is best. So you'll set the fire aflame. The house starts to glow as every bit of the house starts to deteriorate and turns to ash and just flies up into the air, into the sky. I'm assuming there will probably be a moment of silence as the group watches the fire burn down, and I'm assuming you're somehow going to put it out so it doesn't spread. Or maybe you do want this for make a Forsaken Forest to catch on fire. I don't know. Maybe you do.
Wait, guys, did we tell Dartham to get out of the bathroom?
Whoops.
He'll live. His skin is supposed to keep him safe.
Pretty sure this is a big signal flare.
Out of character, I feel like we've gotten him out the house.
Yeah, I'm sure. That would have been funny, though. And yeah, you guys will leave and make your way again through the forest. In the interest of time, I'm going to say that, yes, you will be hit by other illusionary tricks on your way out, but it is not as challenging as it was before. And within the course of, I guess by nightfall, by the time it hits nightfall, you will finally emerge from the Tirashan woods. And once you reach the caravan, almost immediately, you're going to hear a voice, "Mr. Faust, you have returned."
Yes, Sir Garrison, I have returned.
Sir Garrison, sir.
Sir Garrison, sir.
And you look like you're in one piece, my boy. kind of starts to circle around you. You know, he sort of like takes he kind of just scans you as if he somehow is looking for, I don't know, looking for
Anything to nitpick.
right, random like demons that decided to hitch a ride or something, but he doesn't seem to see any.
Leon's going to be very robotic and still for this thing.
He notices that your demeanor is slightly different from before, and he sort of stops what he does, and he says, "Well, Mr. Faust, it seems that your time inside the woods have clearly had a toll on you physically. Why don't we forget about your exercises for this evening, and we'll pick it up again tomorrow morning?"
I think that's an excellent idea, Sir Garrison, sir.
All right. I believe supper is ready.
I request leave, Sir Garrison, sir.
Of course, you are dismissed.
Just
And he
leave
just
it
walks
here.
off.
Is this guy normally this uppity?
Yes, I think.
Oh no.
I don't know what everyone's problem with him is. He seems perfectly pleasant.
Just wait until we see Leon screaming in pain in the next few days.
That's just character building.
All right. With that, now I would like to move to the warm-up question. So, because so much has happened over the last several sessions, I thought it would be fitting for us to once again do another hypothetical journal writing entry. And just for funsies, I would love for you guys to come up with an NPC that you would like me to write a journal entry from.
I think it'd be fun, because he didn't limit it to party NPCs, to get Amron's take on this whole endeavor, or Rousseau's mother's take. Because she's got to have at least a thought or two.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good choice. I can do that. I can do either of those. Which one do you want me to do?
I don't know if anyone
My
else has
vote-
any suggestions.
My vote was for Amron, but now that you've brought up Lyria, I'm also like, that's also a really good idea.
I said I'm also good for either, but personally, like they're both juicy and good. I'll let the other decide first. I'll make my decision later. I'll make my decision. Yeah.
I'm gonna vote Amron just because Lyria is dead. Sorry, Russo.
Same. I'm voting for Amron because I think we need to have a talk with him at some point.
So this is a journal entry from Amarin, and because it's relevant, I'm going to say it's a journal entry from back in the day. And so this isn't a current entry, because right now what's currently is not gonna be all that interesting, honestly, at the moment. Dear Diary, today is going to be a difficult entry. Not even the warm tray of tea that Tyrion has provided for me this evening has given me much comfort. I have come to discover that despite my best attempts, that a dear friend of mine, David, has had his life unjustly taken from him. It is difficult for me whenever anyone that I care about returns back to the Maker, especially in such a bloody way. There was much that, of course, that I wished to do with my friend. I was hoping that if they were able to find residence, his family would find residence here, that we'd be able to catch up on a lot of lost time ever since he decided to leave his family here in Tevinter. But I suppose that is not to be. I'd like to believe that the Maker works in very mysterious ways, and whatever the reason it is for their deaths, I hope that it is not in vain. One thing for sure that I'm worried about, however, is the fate of their son. I don't think the world is ready to realize the importance of this child. I am very curious to discover what role he has to play. I assume that right now he is going to be taken care of over at that circle that he was taken to. At most, I would like to believe that they did not kill the child. That would be quite a waste indeed. There's lots of questions that I have. Many questions that I was hoping to have answered with the Faust family under my household. But perhaps those questions will have to wait to be answered some other time. My apologies if I'm sounding very cold. It's not so much that I don't miss my friend. That's not it at all. It's just I'm trying to make some sense of all this new information. And this unsolved mystery is something that I have more control over than the mystery of the death of the Fausts. The entry just ends there and he shuts the book.
So Leon wouldn't want to write down his thoughts, so this is going to be sort of stream of conscience in his head as he's returning back to his bed for the evening. Control. I must stay in control. They lied to me. How could they do that? Control. It's fine. They had but they couldn't. Why would they do this to me? Where did they control? It's fine. We're good. This has to happen. But there were so many things. They were researching things. Son of a blood mix. Control. We're good. We're fine. Control. How we're descendants of blood mages. Does that mean we killed all those people? What sort of bloody history do they have? How many people did they kill? Control. We're good. The circle taught you control. Do not let your emotions get ahead of you. Sort of stands up from the bed, picks up like a vase sitting on the bedside table. But how could they do that? They found a baby and they did so many experiments on him. His grip's getting tighter and tighter on the vase. How could they just do that to a creature? Control. He places the vase slowly on the bedside table. It's fine. We did what we had to do. We're good. We burned the house. From this day forward, we are our own self. Our decisions are our own. We will decide. And he sits back down.
So Pasha starts off her diary entry. Dear Dandelion, or should I be calling you Daniel now? It is most odd to think of you as anything other than the bright-eyed little boy who was taken from me, but I suppose I must inevitably come to view you as an adult, although that is difficult. Things are concerning here. Russo is not doing as well as I would like. I think he struggles with his nature. I think he struggles with his identity, who and what he is, but he places too much emphasis on the past. And yes, I see the hypocrisy of me saying that, but I believe it to be true. Who he was 20 odd years ago matters very little to the young man he is now. Where he began in life, why should that matter to him? I do not understand it. I fear I never will. It's funny, he said that his identity could have vast repercussions for the Qun. He knows very little of my people. Who we were is irrelevant. What we are, what we do. The Qun is all that matters. I think underneath that, I think there's actually like a little bit of a doodle. It's not a good doodle. Pasha can't draw. So I think it's sort of like, is that a cloud? I'm not entirely sure. I think in her mind, it's one of those scaled ones. It's like the statue with the scaled ones. And I think it's like a set of 3. And so I think it's like a scaled one with like hair starting to sprout, and some very small horns, and the ears getting a little bit pointed, and then the last one is Rousseau. And underneath that, my people do not change. We are constantly evolving, yes, but Qunari do not really change. We are resolute, stubborn. I think, as much as I think Rousseau would have made a terrible Qunari, I think he represents more qualities of my people than he necessarily realizes. I wish I could help him. I wish he could see himself as I see him. By the gods, I love that boy. Ugh, but he is frustrating. And I think that's where it finishes.
So Tyrion right now, he's in the carriage. He's got his doctor's papers there. He's gonna write his next entry. Doctor's log. When I chose to become this occupation, I didn't expect to have my past catch up quickly to me. I thought everything would be left back into winter and lay there until eventually Amryn would come back and scream at me and find me and drag me back. Seems instead all the secrets of everyone is being revealed like I cannot think of a good word or a good metaphor for this. Like dripping water into a mug. Rousseau is not what it seems to be, which is unfortunate for him. Leon's parents kept much more secrets from him as a child, and now he's seeing them in a different light. Pasha, son, or at least one of her children, is a Grey Warden. And there's Dare, the freaking Darkspawn of all things. Oh, how the people and the foes would be screaming at me if I would return back with that information. But now there are other troubles I have to deal with. It seems that getting back to the winter is something that's going to happen very much soon. With Darren, the Wrathful, in this caravan, this traveling what is right now, because of my decision, I'm getting a little bit afraid. And then, with the letter that we found back in Leon's house, seems he wants to go visit Amryn and see what connection there was between him and his parents. I did not expect to quickly think about going back to the winter. I thought that if I had more time, if I had more time on my hands, maybe I could be ready. But I guess the world doesn't work like that. It just decides on itself when it wants to screw you over. At least there are many people with us right now in this traveling. But unfortunately, with Russo's son being the guardian of fire, which I don't know how he's feeling right now in that area, we have the temporary guardian of fire with us. I believe her name was Violetta. I haven't seen much of her, only a little bit. And there's Garrison. It's going to be causing troubles to Leon. Rosie has been quite helpful with us and told us that she was working, not really working, more giving information to the Guardians, which is, doesn't really matter to me at the moment, as long as if she needs help, she asks for it. And Nathan has been quite helpful with that gun. I have to say, this new weapon has been quite useful in the battles we've had. I don't know how much I would be shooting with it. And Valor. What a remarkable companion to have with us. Griffin. If I returned back with the Anthropos with this beast, they would all be praising to the Wardens. But I'm worried. I'm worried about us all, about what will happen to us. What's our next path? Everyone seems a little bit divided on the things that just came at us. And I haven't even... I felt like I haven't even been a doctor since... Andervals. No. Antiva. What is going on? Am I really doing... Is this job that we're doing and this traveling the right thing? Or are we all going to go to find some place and next thing we know we're in a ditch? I just hope we'll survive next coming days. I hope we all do. Doctor's log and Tyrnsitov.
Just to get myself better in the mood, I feel like he would have sat down at his desk and just laid the painting in. Sorry, my phone vibrated. Get that out of there. Laid the painting off to the side, set the layers on the table, and just kind of wiped his knuckles clean and just kind of very forcefully makes himself astute and in proper writing position to write down. Dear Balin, I've had a lot of time to think, more than I really wanted to. I know what I told you recently wasn't nice, and I deserved more than what I got, like you said. But just know that I've lived every moment of my life making it up to you and being the best that I could. And I'll do so until I physically can't. We'll figure out you being a guardian. Violetta seems to be very knowledgeable on all of that. And if I'm not here to tell you these things, I'll give this letter to Pasha so she can give it to you. I've struggled with you, and for any moment you felt neglected or like I wasn't there, I'm sorry. I'm gonna change, and if you've gotten this letter, I hope that remain true and not just empty words. I love you with every ounce of my being. And Okay. So you know who I am, who your grandmother is, and who your uncle is. Your mother loved me as... My mother loved me as long as she could. Unfortunately, she was ripped away, and the reason I was tough around Mr. Daretham was because he was involved. My eyes have opened since, and he's much better of a man than I really pegged him for. I'm more unique than I realized, and I think that's something we'll both share in these coming days. In case no one's there to tell you, I'm not a elf, not an elf Kunari, not even one or the other fully. I'm a primordial Kulshif. A scaled one, transformed. I struggled with this, and I want you to make sure it's known that this is how they came to be if I'm not there to say it at the end of this. And son, do yourself a favor and be more open-minded than I was. And then just kind of signs it. Your loving father, Russo Vega Ren.
So, the group packs up the caravan, and I am going to say that due to the time constraints of who you're trying to get to next, I'm assuming that it is more urgent to try to get over to Ferelden, while supposedly Dandelion is still there. So that's your next destination, which means you guys will be passing by the Dales. But leading up to getting to the Dales, I am giving the players time to roleplay with whoever they'd like. So, who would like to go first?
So Terry right now he's in his office caravan, and he's right now going through. He's probably at this time he's like finishing his journal log that we saw in the past. He's just finishing it up. He's closing the pages, and as he's kind of going to stand up, the door knocks.
Okay.
And he's gonna look back. He's gonna go to the door. He's gonna open it, and he's gonna find out there Darren. But something happened to her apparently, and an injury of sorts.
Okay.
Question to you though, Hark. What kind of injury? Because I wouldn't know what she would do on a daily basis.
So she's going to say, "Is the doctor in?"
He looks outside. It is. You're right there. Come in, quickly.
She'll come in, and she's limping a little bit. And so she says, "So, Dr. Sedov, let me swallow my pride just a little bit before I explain to you why I'm visiting you right now, because this is very unusual for me. Let me specify. So while you all were in the woods, in the Tirashan woods, I decided to pass the time by doing a bit of training, dance combat training, by the river, actually. It helps me train my balance, you see, when I am leaping from one rock to another rock. And at some point, I slipped and fell, and twisted my ankle. Now, to add insult to injury, of course, I splashed almost face first into the running water. We're not going to get into the details of that. You do not care, and quite frankly, I would like to try to maintain what sort of dignity I still have left. But that is a roundabout way of saying that I seem to have sprained my ankle. And as much as I would love for the young Leon to take a look at it, I believe that you are more certified than he is for these sort of things.
Well, Take a seat first of all. Let me do a physical examination to see what's going. It could be a sprained ankle, could be a broken ankle, could be anything. So let me just check you out. All right.
She will hold it out for you, and it does appear to be a bit swollen. It is cold to the touch, so you assume that Darren was at least smart enough to apply ice or something cold against it, which seems to have lowered the swelling a little bit. However, roll a medicine check, please.
Alrighty.
Or a medical check, please.
Healing check there, and that is a 16.
I think pretty much she just needs to stay off of it. Probably, like, take it easy, don't use it. Maybe you might have a pair of crutches or something, I don't know, to help it heal faster.
I kind of looked as to say, alright, well, at least you use the some ice pack of sorts to, I imagine, reduce the swelling. Nothing much I can do on my side other than all I can suggest you to do is don't do any bout practice for now until your leg recovers from the swelling.
I was afraid you were going to say that.
Until it recovers, that's what I can tell you. And he looks around for a pair of crutches, which I imagine this is a medical carriage. There is a pair. He's going to pick them up. I know you're probably going to hate me for telling you need to use these, but if you want to get back to dancing, to battling, and all those, you're gonna have to use these.
She takes a hold of the crutches and she examines them carefully. I suppose if I get into an altercation, I can whack somebody over the head with these things.
That you can do. Tyrion kind of stays a little bit silent and he goes, before you, I let you first go and say this is all done, I'm just going to quickly write this down, that this happened, and I do actually want to talk with you a bit, if that's not an issue.
She looks surprised by this, and she says, you want to talk to me, Dr.
Yes.
Sedov?
Yes, but not in a professional standard. This is just, friendly chat.
Friendly chat?
Yes.
Well, this is a surprise.
And you don't have to call me Dr. C, you can just call me Tyrion, as usual.
Very well. What did you wish to speak to me about, Tyrion?
How has it been? You've been with us for the past few weeks.
It's been... Nobody's asked me that question, actually, since I joined. It's certainly a lot noisier. Let's say that.
I imagine so.
I tend to... When I tend to travel by myself. So traveling with an entire entourage of very rowdy and, quite frankly, rambunctious individuals is new to me.
I can understand that. I was in the same position once.
However, it hasn't been unpleasant, if that's what you're asking.
I would imagine so.
Some people's company is, I'm more fond of than others.
And all the dangers we faced, like, say, the dragon incident?
Well, the dragon incident was actually quite exhilarating.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Especially considering how we had more help from very experienced people aiding us.
That is true.
I doubt, though, that that's going to happen the next time we run into one.
Probably not, no. But at least we'll be more experienced in that situation.
Well, I suppose if such an altercation happens, then you truly can show people what your Dr. Wiles are made of, then.
That's the hope. So I guess many will probably just call me Dr. Sharpshooter since I'm using that and I point at the gun.
I have to say, your aim with that thing is quite impressive.
Well,
I didn't realize you had a lot of experience with shooting, Miss Tyrion, she says.
I still don't, but I guess throwing knives and shooting tend to have some similarities here and there. They still use accuracy. The difference is one is handheld and you don't need to throw something. The other, well, you have to throw something and you need to get the physics right, well, the trajectory right and all that. But all right, the reason I asked that as well, the reason you're here, of course, is, well, me. As
You're good at what you do, apparently.
That's true. I'm also good at persuading people, or at least wasn't me, I guess. My companions that help.
Hopefully better than disarming traps, she says, looking at your hands. She sort of gives you a smirk at that.
Yes, that was a mistake. Let's just say the place we visited, had a trap that I did not thought that we need to expect, but that's that.
Tyrion, you need to realize that not only can you not trust every person that you meet, you also cannot trust every object that you can open.
Very well. Misexperienced one.
As a doctor, I would think that you, of all people, would be a deep advocate of prevention, health injury prevention, and
Yes.
that would probably fall under that category, she
Yes.
says, smiling.
Yes, prevention. Yes, that is my duty. I did not expect traps to be under one of those, though. At least that's what I thought out there. But anyway.
But then again, you're not certified, so that's to be understood. She says it. She's still like...
Oh,
she's just digging. She laughs at that.
Oh, okay. All right. I will concede. I am defeated by your harsh words, Monsieur. Monsieur. But there is one other thing, since now we both know, well, at least us both know the truth about Sir Darrington.
Yes, we do. And what are your conclusions about Darethim?
Oh, that he is a darkspawn, a very old darkspawn from the times of thousands of years ago in a country that used to be thriving. I don't know. On the one hand, I feel a little bit disgusted, not of Darethim, but I traveled in the Neanderthals for most of my life. The people there hate the darkspawn like it's in their blood. They don't like them at all. It's what happened to their country. I kind of feel wrong about helping one, but on the other hand, he doesn't seem to be a bad person. He's still what he is. He cares for most of us. He's helpful. He understands all of us, anyway.
She'll nod and say, he so far hasn't given us any reason to not trust him.
No. While his looks may be terrifying, to say for the least, it's not the outside of what makes a person interesting.
Terrifying is subjective. I've seen many terrifying things. And unfortunately, most of the more terrifying things that have been found are from individuals who are physically very good looking.
I see. That is true.
So it sounds to me that you've come to terms with who Darethim is.
Of course. Well, I'm looking over him now. I'm his doctor at the moment, whatever his problems are.
And this cure that he is attempting to experiment with, how is that coming along? Has he shown any signs of addiction yet? Dependency?
Unfortunately, there is some addiction. I can see it. So I've been keeping it as much as I can safe. I just hope that the addiction doesn't go over his head. That's the hope. If that comes to terms, he'll just look at us and just say, end it.
Well, hopefully that is an extreme that we won't have to take. But I think it's very clear, Tyrion, that Daretham trusts you very deeply, so I'd like to believe he's in good hands.
I hope that as well.
So you're good with Daretham then?
Mm-hmm. And are you? Because I saw that you did cozy up with him.
I believe that I have come to terms with it myself as well. And how about me, Tyrion? Are you and I good?
He looks at Darren for a bit. Up and down. And he thinks. To be honest, I don't know. On the one hand, I want to believe that what I'm doing is right. That I am trusting you enough that no problems will come between each of us both. But I still want an outside answer on this contract of sorts. The process you're going through to become citizenship of Tevinter.
Well, that's sort of been thrown out of the window.
For now.
For now.
The reason I question it because I never knew of it. No one, a master and no one else in the household ever heard of the system or ever mentioned it. Though, based on how my master was, I think he was so fine with not mentioning it.
I suppose every master is very different, and therefore every master, unfortunately, many of their slaves, or call it what it is, many of their slaves are very sheltered and therefore are not educated of things beyond what the master deems they need to be educated on.
That is just most of them, and that's what I thought. Till you showed up.
Perhaps if things were different and you had somebody else as a master, maybe if our roles were switched, I do admit I am not sure if I necessarily would have done much differently than you did.
I will be honest with you, I do feel bad. Because the only way you get your freedom fully is by taking me away. And I feel bad because I am locking you out of that.
Well, to be fair, I don't think I am in a position to do that very well at this moment, she says, like, nodding at the crutches.
Yeah.
Of course, for all you know, this is all just a ploy, she says, pretending that I have some sort of the strain so that I'm vulnerable, so that when you least suspect it, I can swoop in and take you out in the middle of the night when you're alone.
Well, I am not alone, as I point at the bed, and there's probably a Templar watching every single time, but who knows? Thanks to my bunkmate.
Oh, Sir Garrison, yes.
Yes.
I don't understand. He seems to be a fine young man. I don't know why everyone seems to be very nervous around him.
He's just... nothing against the man. I mean, maybe he's good at his job. I'm just worried for Leon's health. He's not built to, survive whatever Templar training is.
I suppose I'm not a mage, so I wouldn't know. Only mages really have a giant vendetta against the Templars. I suppose I can see that.
True, it's just... If we ever get to see a training regiment of Garrison, from what I can understand of the man, he seems like the type who would bend over backward for Leon to get the right training.
I don't understand why Leon is crying and whining about it. What he goes through under the Templars is nothing compared to what we go through with our masters.
And that is very true.
He should be grateful for that.
And that is very true, unfortunately, to poor Leon. We do go through many pains.
But he's naive. Young and naive.
Like
Which
me?
is perfectly fine. Yes, you're naive, Tyrion, but at least you're cute about it.
I grin.
Okay, that's awkward, she says, looking at your grin.
Anyway, but there is one secret I want to share with you, and only you, because this concerns about your future. And I'm hoping that you do not tell this to anyone. And this is between us.
I'm listening.
There's at some point in time that I will have to return to the winter.
You are voluntarily planning on going back to Tevinter?
He nods.
Why?
Many reasons, but the one that I am concerned is with my master.
Tyrion, you're driving me nuts. If you want to go to Tevinter and go back to your master, why don't you just let me?
Well, right now you can't, but the reason is I am not ready. I am out here. I decided not to go back willingly because I am not ready to face him. I am not ready to go back. I sound like a child, probably, is what you're thinking.
So you will go back when it's convenient for you. Very well. Typical.
Yes, you can say that. But it doesn't mean that I'm gonna go back alone or empty-handed. If we are near to Winter and Minratos, I will voluntarily go with you.
All right.
And hopefully you will be granted your citizenship upon return, when I am given back to Amryn.
This doesn't make 100% a lot of sense on your part, but for now I'm just going to roll with it.
You're probably questioning why I have already escaped my master and wanted to go back to his clutches. I just think I'm not done yet. I thought I was. But after meeting with you and after some conversations with people who've experienced other parts of the winter, this was something that will have to happen at some point.
All right, well, thank you for informing me.
Nods. Thank you for listening.
And with that, she'll give you a smile, and she'll get onto her crutches.
I'll open the door for her.
All right. And if there's nothing else, she will make her way out.
As she leaves, Tyrion closes the door, and he just says, am I even doing the right thing? Tyrion, he slams his head on the wall. Are you doing the right thing? You young, naive elf doctor who thinks he's doing the right frickin' thing.
You'll hear a voice from the floorboard say, "Oh, for goodness sakes! Just get a room with her already."
I look down at the floorboards and I say, "Oh, you're still down there? Oh yeah, right. Because of I enjoy down there while the rats cuddle near you."
It's like I'm sitting in some sort of soap opera, in front of some soap opera play where nothing happens for the first act and a half. Just get on with it already. Get to the juicy bits.
God, why am I getting lectured by a book? I guess it's what they do. As I...
Oh, but what do I care? You're not the one that I'm trying to get to reproduce. Not that so it's none of my business.
I'm gonna go to the table and go back to writing the notes.
Are you ignoring me? Are you ignoring me, Mr. Sedov?
I think the sound of silence means yes, I am ignoring you.
Well, you're no fun.
So, I like to imagine, after their first philosophy chat, I like to imagine that every so often, when it's late out and maybe Pasha's going from one caravan to the next and Deatham happens to be outside, they might stop and chat philosophy for 5 minutes before going back their business.
Yeah, I can see that.
And I think that maybe Dirtham comes out of his caravan one night, and Pasha is actually there waiting for him. And she says, Dirtham, would you mind if I spoke to you for 5 minutes?
Of course. Was this about the dealings of Ashkari we were speaking of yesterday?
No, actually. This is a chat of a different kind. I'm feeling rather nostalgic, if you will indulge me.
You would kind of feel a raised eyebrow, but he would go, all right.
And Pasha will lead. She's not necessarily leading him away from the caravans, but if you notice, she's looking up at the sky, and I think it would be pretty obvious. She's looking for a particular constellation.
Okay.
And so she's just going to move around to where there's a good view, and she points up at it, and she says, I believe you people call that one Draconis?
I'm not very familiar with constellations, so sure.
I believe it means the dragon. We call it Atashi. That is our word for them, the glorious ones. I can see the stars back from my homeland. They always seem so much farther away, but here they are, close, bright. And Pasha is kind of, she's rubbing her wrist like that, and it is her gauntleted wrist. And if you were to look at it, it's clearly a very old gauntlet, but it has been well maintained and repaired, and she's clearly put like a lot of love into this gauntlet. And she holds it up and she said, would you like to know the story of how I got this?
Of course.
Thank you. Thank you for being polite, my dear.
It's the least I can do. Even me and my ramblings.
When I was 20, I wanted to learn how to fight. I wanted to learn how to protect myself. And the Qun abhors women fighting, so it was going to take a lot of persuading to get that done. And a friend of mine got me in touch with a Sten. Do you know what a Sten is?
Soldier, I think.
Nice memory work. Very good, my dear.
I remembered you speaking a few nights ago.
And this particular Sten, he said on the day I was able to give him a black eye, he would consider me worthy enough to begin training. And I attempted for months to give him a black eye. I really tried, and I absolutely could not. And I think I just got rather annoyed. He was stood there taunting me, and just right at him. And it was a terrible black eye, absolutely awful. I think back on it, I had no technique whatsoever. But he gave me this gauntlet on that day. And I know it is not nearly as grand as the one Violetta has, but it has served me well for 25 years. It was with me during the Blight. I was fighting, and I remember a darkspawn being next to me on the ground. And she is gonna punch Dirtham in the face.
Yeah, I don't think you would be expecting that. So, you can go ahead and just roll damage.
Oh god, where's the thing? Okay, 10 damage.
How much damage?
10?
10? Okay. This probably was before I would have rested, so
Yeah, Daretha just is punched just right in the face, and yeah, he's got a 0 strength, so he just stumbles back. And I'm gonna say, just because why not, the moon kind of passes over and the clouds part, and you see a bit of liquid fly out of his mouth, and it is distinctly black.
Now, Datham, do you know why I did that?
Who told you?
Rousseau. Rousseau told me. Do you know why I did that?
Because I'm a monster.
No. Almost, but no. That is because 20 years ago, you tainted me, knocked me to the floor, and then just buggered off. I'm like to imagine she's pacing at this point.